Hey YouTube, welcome back to Universe X, and a couple things going on today. I know the format's going to shift a little bit because of the draft box, and by a little bit I mean there's going to be some really fun things to play around with. But and then it's going to shift a little again because of that new EX set, the 14 and 15 EX sets that were released or spoiled yesterday. So for all the Xeno Harambe, aka Dark Broly fans out there, I wanted to just let you guys see where I was currently on the build before the since the meta's about to change anyway. It's not like I'm going to be taking this anywhere. Also, at the same time, I had a person comment asking for some sort of form, and so I did make a Discord. It's got some channels just to talk about random stuff about the game. It's got some channels to talk about deck builds or tech cards. You know, it's got a content creator channel just in case you're making your own videos and you want to kind of put in there. And on top of that, it's also got some voice channels for people that want to just be on Untap and chill in there. So I hope you guys like that. The link will be in the description for the open invite to my Discord. And yeah, so without further ado, let's actually move into the list. So like the title states, this is a Dark Broly deck through and through. You guys already know what this guy does. On the front, just in case you don't, he is able to swing in and take a life, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, and you can put up to 3 30Ks that are black into the drop zone. Then when he's at 4 or less life, or when he swings, he draws a card. When he's at 4 or less life, you draw 2, flip over, and his effect becomes once per turn, you can place up to 3 black battle cards of 30,000 power from your warp to your draw a card. But also, you can you can activate battle to send a 30k black battle card from your field or your hand to the drop zone. This card gains 5,000. If you don't know what these cards do, I've done a bunch of videos on Dark Broly. I have a breakdown. I can put that in the description. I have the Black's review list of the set. So there's more than enough places. So I'm going to kind of skip over the introductions. So first, we've got 4 of the 1-drop Broly. You guys already know this guy essentially starts off your free Broly summon as long as you have a ball. So he's just got to be at 4 max because you don't have to use your graveyard resources to roll with him. He's excellent bait for things like Trunks Godzilla technique, because if they're in this position where they need to stop a summon and you use a ball, you can just choose to let that guy go to your hand. Just bring a Dark Broly to your hand instead of bringing it out, and then use your graveyard resources, which are more valuable. We've got Toa, Union of Magic and Science. This is the one that searches the Dragon Ball from your deck to your hand. Okay. Or for 1, it'll do it from your grave, but it's going to be made kind of outdated by that new EX card, even though the new EX card is not a 30k. 3 of these, because generally I want to open the ball in Broly, or I want to just play it from there. I never really want to play 1 energy just to get the ball. Then you've got 4 Dark Aura Deluge. Lots of people sleep on this card. You shouldn't be. It's one of the better cards in the deck. The fact that it allows you to just sack a 30k and then recur a 30k, including itself. You can sack itself and bring another 30k back to your hand. This is how you recycle your overrealms like Brainwash No More or SS4 Bardock, or soon to be Demigra coming out of the draft box. This is how you just manipulate your graveyard to have the proper targets in grave. You know, you don't have there's certain Dark Broly you want in grave, but you have it in hand. Cool, play this. Tribute off a Dark Broly that you've already swung with. Put the it's good. It's actually just really good. I mean, you can tribute the Dark Broly you have on the board that you want to use this effect again to bring back an Overrealm. Then remove 6, play the Dark Broly, and it really comes into powerful plays when your opponent is non-stop negating you. Against blue, where they won't let you have the time of day to swing if they can say anything about it, this is a great card to be able to get around that. You got negated 3 times in a row and you can't get your warp from hand, warp from grave on and off the field. Cool, play a Deluge, pop it, play it back. Excellent card in the deck. Super combos, you already know. This is just the tuck 1, draw 2. In this deck where you have a lot of cards that need to be in your graveyard, it's not bad to tuck a Dark Broly because it's not really doing anything in your hand but being 5k combo cost. I'm pretty sure most of your cards in your deck do more than that. For Champa, because this deck, without Champa in this deck has to hit at max 8 times, at minimum 4 times, and if you can change that to 4 and 2, that's much, much better. Early game, this is free damage because nobody's stopping the 40k early game. It's almost assured if your opponent's at 5 and you swing with Dark Broly and you Champa, they're going to 3. So this is just a very good thing, and it's also good to be able to close out game. Then with your leader, because your leader has the ability to turn all these into 5k, sometimes your leader can get up to ferocious swings out of nowhere, just backed by Champa, and all the 5ks that you can get. So very good card. Very, very good card. I do currently run, this is probably the most flex spot in the deck, but 2 SS Bardock the Tenacious, mainly because he is Black's Nimbus, and he helps out a lot of places. It's kind of weird to see his value sometimes, because like against Gotenks, they have a leader swing, they have a unison swing, but at the same time, they might also have a couple of swings from the kids, they might have a couple of swings from their Reapers, they might have a Cell Xeno on the way. So when you play this guy, you're essentially letting them know that they have the ability to swing with their leader, their unison, and then they've got to play with whatever one summon. It can save you the game many, many times. It's a really good defensive card. Against blue, they have the chance to turn it off with their Trunks unless you bait them hard, but against blue, you're able to maybe turn that next turn that was going to be Obuni into a turn that's just not going to be able to put pressure on you like that. Against Broly, playing this card, like Red Broly, playing this card means that your opponent is just going to have to not swing on you with the entire chain. Like, yes, they can still swap and get effects off, but they won't be able to swing on you with the entire chain. Against the mirror, I really don't keep him in that much for the mirror because you can kind of manage it. There's a bunch of single strikes, but yeah. So game 1 against the mirror is not a bad card, but it does come off for game 2. Next, these are going to take no explanation at all. You've got the Brolys that are just defenders, blockers, if you will. You got the Warp from Hand, Warp from Drop Brolys. Best Broly in the deck, should have been the SE, or should have been the SR. You got the Warp from Field Brolys. Not really used as much as the middle one, but it's still a very, very good card. Looks pretty, sells for a decent amount. 3 Mass Sand, Brainwash No More. So, I mean, the auxiliary use is that you can pay 1 black and crit yourself, and then you don't take damage from double strike, single strike. You don't take damage from anything that battle. So, I mean, it's pretty neat because your opponent can be swinging with a Xenocell, and you could just pay a black and only take that crit that you critted yourself with by effect. But the other thing is, he is a 30k, so he can fit well with your front side leader ability and all your other congruent skills. He is a he's a big body. He's a free overrun, and on top of being a free overrun, you can of course put Champa behind him with that energy that you didn't use to play him. But most of all, when you overrun for him, he puts 3 30k, or he puts 3 black battle cards from your warp into your drop area, and you get to choose those. So he helps set up your graveyard, and he actually refunds half of his overrun costs, making him an indispensable piece because he is able to keep momentum going with the way he puts things back in your grave. I've got another flex spot, 2 SS4 Bardock, Combat Instincts. A lot of people are like, 3 energy is hefty to play. I do find though, in the games where you get to live longer, like against blue, if you can push their hand in to the point where they need to start using negates to keep things off the board, you can start pressuring their hand hardcore with this card. It's disgusting how much pressure this card can be when you land it correctly. I mean, 2 rips from a hand is nothing to just scoff at, and you get to choose them. So you get to choose and hopefully destroy your opponent's hopes and dreams. He's 30k dual attack, so that's pretty cool. You won't really be using Champa the same turn you play him most times because that's a lot of energy for this deck. But he's also, being a 30k black card, you can swing with him twice, swing with your leader, and treat him off the grave, so it never goes to the overown pile, and he still instead fuels your grave. So there's a lot of synergy with this card. He's just a little heavy. He's definitely the top end of the deck. Then you've got Fu, Shrouded in Mystery. I haven't played this guy once, like, since picking up this deck at the start. But if you're playing against a deck that allows the game to go on long enough, putting 3 Brolys on grave, or 2 Brolys on board, Having 2 Broly's on board in your leader swing and then playing Food Shrouded in Mystery is a clear game closer. That, and he just fits in with the synergy of the deck. He's able to just be discarded to the grave, picked up with Deluge if you ever need it. He's a very, very good card to have in the back pocket. He just probably won't play him. For the Dragon Ball, because they're needed, I said 4, but one almost dropped out of my hand. They're just needed. They're just in general needed for the strategy. You put them under the 1-drop Broly, you get your 6-drop Broly from deck. 3 Power Bursts, very, very, very good card, and on top of being a good card for negate, your sparking negate, which of course this deck's gonna get sparking on turn, sometimes even 1. Mostly turn 2 though. Sometimes it's turn 1. If you get a good mill, a full price mill, and you Broly Ball, you're getting it on turn 1. But he recycles your 1-drops. That could be your Broly, that could be your Deluge in most cases. This is a very good card, and it's crazy because even if you don't need to use the Broly or the Deluge, you're adding 5k combo power to your defense if you're Awakened. So you get to negate and then add 5k combo power to your hand. Or a combo piece for an actual play combo. 3 Protector of the Cheeks. Now, Protector of the People, it's just, if you don't know what this card does, it's just stupid good. Negates an attack, and then you can discard a card. If you do, every time a battle card would attack your leader, you gain 5,000 power. This card is great. It pretty much shuts down the Obuni play or makes them have a very, very odd turn where they can attack with the tokens, and sometimes that's just what you need, the alleviation of pressure. Very, very good card. And then you have Max Power Kamehameha. Lots of people playing these at 2. I definitely like this card, and this is one of the few decks where, like my friend Amani was telling me when I first picked it up, you can easily play it and always have the fodder and grave turn move it and bring back to hand. The reason why it's at 1 right now is because the SR Broly pretty much does the same removal effect, so really it's just the negate that I can get back, and I can't play it again that turn, but it's a very, very good card, and I did want it at 1. Next, Majin Buu's Human Extinction Attack. It's the super attack card from that set. You actually just gain 15k, mill up to 4, it's important that you can choose, and you remove a card from your opponent's graveyard. Now this could be against blue, you always try to remove their monkeys, but smart blue players are going to make that very hard to do. You have to kind of bait it. It's also going to make a graveyard out of nowhere, and as long as you mill not too many extra cards, you're going to be making a massive momentum swing. Against the mirror, it's paramount because you're going to be screwing over their work that they've been doing trying to remove your graveyard, but you're also going to be stacking your graveyard to get them advantage, and that's crazy. So then, before I move on to just a couple notes about the matchups, we're going to move on to the side deck. I got 2 Mechabura. He's good because, he just needs to declare a character name and an energy cost, and your opponent cannot play that. So against Gotenks, you can 6-drop Gotenks and stop Reaper. Against, I wouldn't really put it, you could put it against blue, but against blue it's kind of weird because, what are you going to call Obuni? Like, that's really, for the most part, it. Everything else is, like, kind of counters and stuff like that, so I'm kind of like, it just can't play copies of this card. So, that's actually pretty, well, it says play, not counter, so, God's only still gets under, yeah, look, it's good against the mirror. You call 6-drop, Dark Broly, your opponent is locked out of all their conventional plays. It's good against quite a few decks. You can call 3-drop Majin Buu, and your opponent can't resolve Ball if they're playing the Majin Vegeta deck. So there's a lot of good things, and your knowledge of the format really helps this card get better and better. Then for the green matchups, whether it be Majin Vegeta or be Gotenks, we've got the Haru Attacker Majins. You guys should know what this does if you've been playing the game for long enough. Critical. When you play this card, place up to 2 cards from the top of your deck into drop area so you can help fill. And then when you play this card, if your opponent's leader card is green or yellow, choose up to 4 of your energy, switch from the active mode. This is a beatdown type of card, and it really helps extend plays and gets another swinger on board. But most importantly, this is a swinger that can't be Big Amori, which is absolutely wonderful when you're facing green. We got 2 Bardock Fully Unleashed for the mirror. He removes every battle card that your opponent has with 6 or more. So if your opponent stacks up a board, you just play this guy and you make them regret ever doing it. You send 3 of their cards to the grave or to the warp, and then it just hurts. It's a huge momentum swing, and he swings for 25, and he's free. Secret Identity Mass Sand. This guy, I bring him in for blue matchups, the Booney tokens. He can go into a lot of matchups. There's a fair amount of matchups that he can just kind of come into, because he will clap the Booney in all of his tokens, and a 2-drop like a Mechiorp if they have it on board. But in all honesty, this card does a lot, and it's really just, there's many places you can put him in the format. We got a Fu, Shrouded in Mystery, a second one just in case. Don't really think it's ever needed, but it would go in against, like, per se, things like blue. I mean, but he can be trunked. That's just a huge thing. Like, so many things can be trunked off the board and just hurts. So you're not really going to be using it against that. You could try though. You've got Sun, SS4 Sun Gohan, Beyond the Ultimate. So basically, he ends up going in my blue matchups and my green matchups, because this guy gets under Big Amori, he gets under Trunks Prospect, and he can actually just be played for 3, and then you can activate an Overrealm. He goes up to 4, remove 3 counters, because he goes up to 4 when he goes up 1 marker every time you Overrealm. So you remove counters, and he's going to gain 15,000 power, making him a 20k. He's going to become dual attack, and he's going to add 2 black battle cards with powers between 20,000 and 30,000 from your warp to your hand. So he's going to recur cards, and he's going to be able to swing twice for 20k, and that's just pressure and recursion. So, but also he's a +1 that's going to be able to just put 2 black battle cards from your warp to your drop area. He goes in against like I said, those, but he can also go in against the mirror depending on how you're feeling about it, because he's going to allow you to add cards back, and then he's going to be able to be pressure later on. So this is pretty neat. And he gets back things like Mass Identity or Secret Identity Mass Sand or the Bardock in order to warp more of your opponent's cards, because he doesn't have a 30k, he's between 20k and 30k. And he's Gohan, so I love him. Same thing, recursion. This one's more likely to be going against the mirror because it's -4 is the only thing that's really important. -4 to bring 8 cards, 30k black battle cards. And then you have 1 more Majin Buu's Human Extinction attack. This really just goes in against the mirror. Sometimes Gotenks, because against Gotenks you need to accelerate a lot faster to be able to put pressure on, and he can remove 1 more piece that they could recur with their Reaper of Justice. And then he is able to, in the mirror, remove 1 more Dark Broly, accelerate yourself. So this is a card that I side in against the mirror and Green Gotenks. So just to give a little recap at the very end, I do, against blue, it's a very, very toss-up match, because blue is so good at stopping all these plays. Trunks Prospect, Heroic Prospect is going to shut down this deck's offensive turns. And you're not getting the 6 energy for a long time. However, because of the Champas and because of what this deck can do in turns 1, 2, and 3, you can put enough pressure on blue decks to force them out of the game. And on top of that, you can keep looping your Warp from Hand, Warp from Grave Broly, and you can put a really big hurting on their advantage. So it gets really rough, but against blue, you have to be the aggressor, and you can't just attack their life. You have to attack their hand. You have to bring it to them. You have to force them to push things out of their hand. You have to force them to use those negates early, chomp with them early, keep pushing. There's a lot that you have to do, but it is kind of a weird matchup. Matchup against green is actually pretty solid. Game 1. It's game 2 and 3 where the Big Amoris come in and you have to worry about dodging Dormants and Big Amoris. And once again, it's all about the pressure. You cannot let Gotenks be the aggressive one in that matchup if you expect to win. Dark Broly mirrors I think it's a pretty skill-based mirror. You have to sequence correctly, and you have to not only manage your resources excellently, because you're not just playing against your own graveyard, you're playing against their graveyard interference, which will be heavy between Majin Buu's Extermination attack and Ravager Dark Broly. You will have to manage that very well. Red Broly, this is one of the few decks that can operate off of little to no energy. So if you're going first, you can skip a charge to put off their bigger plays for 1 more turn, but you can also be the straight up aggressor and punish them out of their life and start forcing cards out of their hand. This deck is weird because it's kind of like a tempo deck, but most of the times you do end up playing like aggressive, but I won't call it like straight aggro because you're not that close to the ground. You need to get to turn 2 and 3 to really start revving up. Well, you need to get to turn like 3 really to start being in your stride. Turn 1 is nothing. Turn 2 is kind of a setup. Turn 3 and 4 are your strongest turns. So, I think that's actually just really fun to play. So that being said, oh yeah, and it's got a good match against Senshin. I'm sorry. So that being said, I hope you guys liked the video. It was kind of a chunky one at 20 minutes, but I hope you liked the content. Like I said, link to the Discords in there. If you like the content, think about hitting that subscribe notification button, and I will see you guys the next time you decide to join Universe X. Look forward to game 2 of Zamasu versus Gotenks. It'll be up soon. There's just a lot of editing, and then I gotta get with Amani to finish the commentating. Thank you guys. You have a great day.